really want to know is, can Georgia's defense hold LSU's offense to stay in the game? Just to compete in this game. Have a chance at the end of this thing.
Here's the thing. Kirby and company are going to have to check their egos at the door and understand that, like, from 20 to 20, have all the yards you want, make it a slow death, and then I think you have to be really efficient in the red zone and make them kick field goals. But I don't think anybody can stop this offense. I think Joe Burrow's operating on a level that his worst game's 71%, I think. It's not human. And it's an offense where it has great answers to everything you do and great weapons to give it to, and running game, and a quarterback. Not only that, a quarterback that also buys time and scrambles and breaks tackles and makes big plays. So, I mean, they're gonna get theirs, and Jake's gonna have to play really well.
You tweeted a couple weeks ago that you were excited for this game, excited to see what the Georgia defense was going to do back at a time when a lot of Georgia fans weren't quite so sure their offense could keep pace in a game like this. What would you say to Georgia fans who've kind of had some questions about that all season long?
You should. I mean, I was excited. I tweeted about being really excited about old school versus new school, because it used to be defense won championships. I don't think it's defense wins championships anymore. I think offense, you have to have a great offense to win a college football championship. And the game has changed so much, so we'll get to see. We'll get to see if old school defense can still reign supreme. And listen, this is a Big 12 offense. This is not an offense that's like reinvented itself and does new, amazing things that nobody else does. It's just an offense that has answers, that spreads you out, and it's going to throw the football to a lot of different weapons. So they're going to get theirs, and you just got to be okay with it.
What role do you think Jake Fromm plays in all this? Either responsibility for why it hasn't been better, and part of the solution for how it can be better against LSU?
Well, he's not playing his best football. I can look at him and watch him. His mechanics need to improve. Like, he's fading away, throwing the football way too much. That's the kind of stuff for a 3-year starter. You're like, okay, you can't do that. So he's definitely culpable. He's missed a lot of throws that were wide open. I think the system and the scheme is getting to know each other still and hasn't really clicked together real great yet, and needs to do that this week. And I think it'll change a little bit and morph. And I think it's done well at times, but put together a complete game, it hasn't done, and it needs to do that.
Dave, what do you say about the way the Georgia kind of helped, prop up the East, especially this year? The West always seems to be a dogfight for LSU, Auburn.
Florida's doing okay.
Yeah, but Georgia 3 years in a row.
Back to back 10-win seasons for the first time, by the way, since 2008. I mean, so Florida's doing their share and doing well. But no, I mean, Georgia's 3 times in a row here. That's pretty daggum good. I think if you had told Georgia fans that when Kirby got hired, they'd be like, sign me up for that. How about 3 years ending where you're in the conversation to be in the college football playoff? That's pretty daggum good. And again, I feel like we say it every year, but it's still a pretty young team. I mean, you're not going to lose much on defense. Offensive line, who leaves early? Swift leaving early. He will leave early. When he leaves, how many leave, I guess, will be the better question. So it shows a lot about Kirby and how he's been able to recruit and restore.
David, what is the trick to the LSU offense? What's made it so unstoppable and so versatile in what they do?
There ain't no trick, bro. I mean, it's not a trick. They know how to execute. They know exactly, if you blitz them, they have their answers. And if you want to play cover one, they're going to hit deep overs, and they're going to hit fades and goes. And they do a good job. If you're going to play dime and nickel, they're going to run duos all day and run the football at you. And so they do a really good job of knowing how to attack every level of a defense. It's not like it used to be. I feel like offense for a while trended towards Golden State, like it was threes and dunks. It was goes and screens, and they do a good job with their mid-range and attacking, but it's just they do everything well. I mean, that's why it's hard to say, okay, I want to take this away, I want to take this away. Every time you do, they have an answer to try to answer that. It'll be fun. I think Kirby, as brilliant as he is defensively, can come up with something to make a few plays. I mean, Tua last year had it rolling, coming into the dome, and cooled off big time, but obviously got hurt too. So it's just finding what can you find that can slow them down for a possession and you win. Auburn tried the tower approach and tried to go 3 down and bring in a bunch of speed. It kind of worked. What can you bring in and slow down just for a little bit and hold the rope, and then hopefully your offense makes plays and holds the ball a little bit and kind of helps everybody works together.
Reese said he was going to vote for Coach Hill for Coach of the Year. Where is he in the conversation for you?
In the league or in the Coach of the Year period?
Coach of the Year period.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan Day, he's done a heck of a job. shoot, you look at P.J. Fleck and Baylor, Matt Rule. So he's definitely he's in there. And how about his wins, top 10 record against top 10 teams, and the hire of the offseason? Nobody can debate that. I know who the Frank Broyles Award winner is. I mean, I don't think anybody else is nominated. I think it's just go ahead and give it to Joe Brady. So,
can Joe Burrow lose the Heisman tomorrow?
Sure. I mean, people have memories of, people have those moments when they start to put some doubt or some question. He's by far, in a way, commanding the lead. But what if he struggles mightily and limps to the finish, and then all of a sudden you see a huge game from Justin Fields and somebody like that? I think it can jump up and maybe, but I mean it's a small chance. But I think Joe Burrow's done enough throughout the season. But this is a big time stage where you got to prove things, and so I think some people could have some doubt still. But I find it very hard to believe that you'd lose it.
I'm sure you're glad to be in Atlanta, I guess, with the college game. You said, do you guys as talent, do you ever get to say so on a vote as to where y'all end up?
First of all, it's the worst word ever, talent. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. It drives me nuts. Nothing against you, but God, it's just stupid. Talent. I don't have a say.
Yeah.
Trust me, Kirk has a say. I mean, the totem pole is. I'm happy to be on the totem pole somewhere, but I fall way down here. But I don't put in any input. But I'm happy to be here. It's I'm 2 versus 4, and I like being close to home. Baby girl's got a basketball game tonight. I'm gonna go home and coach. So I mean, I'm ecstatic to be here. I think it's awesome.
Grant Delpit said he's close to 100%. You see that on the film against A&M?
I'm trying to measure my words here. He hasn't had his best year this year, and kind of I think the secondary on the whole, you see a ton of talent, but you've also seen more big plays than you're accustomed to seeing, more missed tackles than you're accustomed to seeing. So I think they're getting healthier. They got to play. They got to play better, and that's why Ohio State's number 1. I mean, Ohio State has the resumes are equal. Like, if you can nitpick and say Cincinnati's a top 25 team or where you want to rank them, whatever. Ohio State's been more dominant. Their defense has been more dominant. That's the difference between LSU and Ohio State. I mean, so now I could also swing the pendulum and say, who's Ohio State play offensively that's any good? I mean, even Cincinnati's not very good. Penn State's not very good. Wisconsin's offensive. I mean, those are all leave a lot to be desired. Michigan's pretty good. They had some success. So I think defensively, it's very interesting that we're sitting championship weekend and we're pointing the finger for LSU, and it's at their defense.
Scale of 1 to 10, how important is DeAndre Swift to Georgia and their hopes of winning tomorrow, and what do you expect from
15.
him? What do you expect from Swift?
I expect Swift to do what he does. I mean, I would love to see them be more creative and find ways. First of all, one of the keys would be to get him and Harry in the ball out of the backfield, because LSU's not good at covering backs. Like, that's one of their – you watch a lot of tape and you see that's an area you can have a lot of success and should have a lot of success. So I think he has to have an enormous game if Georgia wants to win. And it needs to be inside and outside. And it needs to be screens. It needs to be finding ways to get him the ball. You get him the ball in space, it's just stupid. I mean, he's the best back in the country, I think, in space. But Georgia's had a hard time getting him to the second level untouched, and it'll be interesting to see what kind of tweaks they have offensively.
Obviously, Joe Burrow can win in a variety of ways, but how important is it for Georgia to keep him inside the pocket tomorrow?
It doesn't matter. I mean, you better cover really well, and you better get him to the ground. I don't care about where you keep him. When you get your hands on him, you got to get him to the ground, because he's strong, he's physical, but he's so daggum tough. Like, he doesn't give up. He's not like a Manning back in the day. You saw somebody get close to him that would take a dive. That's not a shot at them, but like, Joe Burrow is going to physically go through anybody he needs to. When he runs the football, he lowers his shoulder. He's going to make plays. So when Georgia gets there, whoever that is, get your hands on him and get him to the ground. I think another key, too, would be batted passes. Like, if you want to take away some of those throws over the middle of the field, when I'm a pass rusher and I know I can't get to the QB, I get my hands up and knock the ball down. Now, maybe it's 2nd and 10. Now you got a better chance.
Is this game important for whether Georgia has the right identity? Alabama and LSU go to this offensive approach, and even Kirby kind of said earlier in the week, defense, the adage that defense wins championships doesn't necessarily hold.
He's been listening. We'll see, I guess. I mean, I think that it's pretty proven now that offenses win. and you have to score. You have to be able to score 30. Because remember, you got to win a championship game, a playoff game, and another playoff game to be a champion. And to do that, you're going to play offensive juggernauts, and you better be able to score points. If you can't score points, if you can't be an explosive offense, it's very hard to win that many games in a row. It's like the NFL being the playoffs, and you got to win string 3 together. That's a tough thing to do.
Last question, guys.
A lot of teams have a dedicated quarterbacks coach, and of course Jake has shown that he can be an elite player. Do you think Georgia needs to bring on like a dedicated coach like that?
I don't know. I don't care. I think Jake has regressed this year. He hasn't played his best football, and I think he needs to focus in on his mechanics more and more. But if you don't think they're doing individual time with the quarterbacks coach, you're wrong. They're going to do all that stuff. They're going to make sure they take care of that. But it's definitely something that Jake needs. When you're a guy and you hone your craft, you better make sure you're dialed in on what you need to work on and how you continue to grow and get better. And his footwork has been a little fading away a lot of times, and he's got to make sure he cleans that up.
Thank you.
You're welcome, guys.